Hello, one and all, and welcome back to the Great Unknown audio show with me, your illustrious host, and most appropriate face for radio, Maxim Jennings. And yes, this is day 3 of the Great Ocean Road Trip. Today, we start our journey. It's Mate's Rest Rainforest Walk, just outside of Apollo Bay where I stayed last night. And a few words of advice from the people who preserve one of Australia's only remaining cool rainforest areas. I think cool in terms of temperature as opposed to, oh wow, that's sick. Take a moment to tune in your senses. Look around you. What do you see? Breathe deeply. What do you smell? Listen carefully. What do you hear? Now you are ready to discover the wonders of Mate's Rest. I mean, some words of inspiration from our rainforest guides. So I'm not really sure what to expect from this walk, to start off with, and I had no idea what to expect from last night's nighttime encounter, as I once again found myself with a sticky situation. In my 4-bed dorm, I was joined by 2 older gentlemen. I would have said at least in their 50s. They were grey-haired, and on both the bottom bunks, which meant I had to take a top bunk, of course. And I got into the room after having quite a late dinner, after taking a long time to edit yesterday's episode. A few little audio glitches in there, and I apologise for them, but it's the best I can do with the equipment that I have. Anyway, I get in, and before I've even unlocked the door, I can hear some rumbles going on. I'm like, oh no. Some snoring activity is going to be taking place tonight. And a few weeks ago on the trip, I managed to lose my earbuds that I would wear to make sure I could cancel the noise out. So I'm just going to play for you the audio that I managed to capture about 10:30 at night, so not even that late, of the absolute, I mean, it was impressive, really, but disgustingly impressive, the calibre of this snoring. I think our main culprit must have had a cold, because there was, well, I'll just play the audio for you, and then you'll understand why I give that description. Yes, so I think you can tell that the combination of the very snotty cold and the absolutely massive diaphragm that this person must have had to create that much noise from one snore is absolutely, it's mind-boggling. So I have to tip my cap to him, although it did take me a long time to go to sleep, and I had to end up playing music in my ears just to drown out that horrible noise. We then woke up this morning. He'd already left the room. They'd both gone, so there was no one I could have a go at and go, oh, you know how long you made me stay up last night? Absolutely ridiculous. I mean, if you're going to snore like that, get your own bloody room. Surely you have enough money. Look at how old you are. Not going to be judgmental. That's what I wanted to say. Didn't say any of that, like usual. But we wake up with time to spare before checking out to have a coffee and my glorious fruit combo as always. And now we find ourselves at Mate's Rests. From the signs, they were saying that it's called this place because one of the soldiers, who was one of the founders of Otway National Park, which is where the Great Ocean Road is based, used to leave his horse here to rest during the First World War. And I have to say, the greenery is absolutely fantastic, and it really is a rainforest walk. It's very well maintained and looked after. One thing to add, the drive here from Apollo Bay, you really get that rainforesty vibe before you even get here. And I did manage to see a koala. I managed to see one, which was amazing. It was kind of in its natural habitat. It wasn't walking along the road. It was just hanging on a branch. There were a few onlookers who were viewing the koala from the side of the road, but I was in the car. Managed to spot it, which is great. Didn't get any photos, Didn't really want to annoy the people who were just gazing at it from afar by going up and taking a photo of the koala, but it was great to see one in action. They are gorgeous, absolutely adorable things. So that was fantastic, and hopefully there'll be a lot more of them to come. Well, that was, you guessed it, absolutely fantastic. This place has the mountain ash tree, which after being around and reading a few statistics about, is over 200 metres high and the world's highest flowering tree. And it's absolutely gorgeous. It's like a grey, ashy colour, surprisingly. And there's loads of them in like a big batch. And it's just monumental. You can look straight from the trunk, the roots that are above ground, straight vertically up, and you see it. You bloody hell, that is high. And to have them so grouped so closely together, compared to the rest of the trees, it's really nice. And it has that amazing kind of encapsulating rainforest feel to it. Like, it doesn't feel like you're in Australia. Like, you're so close to the city here, and then you come here and it's completely different. There's a massive contrast, which I absolutely love. So a great experience, great start to the day. Well, that was a turnout for the books. The koala that I saw on the side of the road after going to the rainforest walk is still there, so managed to pull up on the right side and go over and say hello. This furry thing, it was in between like a crevice of the trunk and and one of the branches, just perched there, looking very happy, almost with its resting face was a smile, and it was looking around, just really enjoying being nice and comfy there. I'm assuming it's quite late for a koala, so it's probably getting close to bedtime. It's probably in that state that you get in where you're just so happy to be lying there, ready to go to sleep and just waiting for it to happen. But that was a really cool moment, and I'm really glad I got to see one up close, probably about 3 metres away. Absolutely fantastic. Right, so there's been a bit of a time delay since our last recording. In that time, I was able to pick up some company finally. He had a thought and thought, fucking hell, I can't do 2 days without Maxim, let alone 5, so changed his mind.
All right. I just couldn't do 5 more days in Melbourne looking for bloody jobs. So here I am, CUNT.
Yeah, thanks very much for that. Yeah, Nick's decided to join me. So Nick, you took a, 5-hour bus?
5-hour bus. I bunked the tram. I got the bus for free after the train. Train wasn't free, but probably came to like $5, £2.50 for a 5-hour journey. It's not that bad, is it?
Natasha, I'm sorry, I don't encourage this behaviour.
Public transport should be free though, so, you know.
But you're here now, which is all that matters. So I picked Nick up in Apollo Bay, which is where I was staying last night. And then we carried on our journey. And our first place, the only place that we did for the rest of the day, was the Great Otway Light Station, they called it.
Lighthouse, yeah.
Light Station.
Light Station,
yeah. Which is fascinating. A little bit of a detour off the Great Ocean Road, about 10 kilometres, which was beautiful, by the way. That whole stretch of road was magical. Lots of tall trees and lovely greenery on a nice thin strip of road where you could just kind of weave in and out for a good 60 or 70 kilometres or so. So we took this detour. First of all, did a little 2-3 kilometre walk along the coastal front, along the cliff edge, to see the lighthouse from a distant view. And then we went into the shop, and it actually had a disclaimer saying that it was free today because the lighthouse itself was not open. As Nick pulls out some orange juice at 6:20 in the evening. Interesting choice of hydration. Oh, you disgusting brat. So we decided to go and see what the lighthouse, what all the fuss was about. And it was really interesting. The main historical point of this place was that
it would be the first point of land that all the convicts would have seen coming from Great Britain all those years ago in like 100 days. It was very dangerous. It was a notorious gap between Tasmania and Australia, known as the Bass Strait, and many convicts died in shipwrecks. So imagine being stuck at sea for about 120 days, seeing Australia for the first time, the first land you've seen in God knows how long, only to end up at the bottom of the ocean, drowning in freezing cold water. If you're lucky enough, you could have got a bottle of rum to drown the sorrows. I think one ship had like 400 people back.
Yeah, female prisoners
females
and their
children.
children.
So, yeah, not a good way to go. So they built the lighthouse because of all the shipwrecks that were occurring.
Yeah, this would have been in the mid-18th century. You didn't shut the door. This would have been in the mid-19th century, where they decided to build mainland Australia's second ever lighthouse, which is pretty cool.
Like you can rizz up girls with your lighthouse facts.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, well, it was excellently explained by you, Nick. We had a little 15-minute talk from one of the people who worked at the lighthouse. Seems a pretty isolated vocation. Don't think I would enjoy doing it, and the weather, it was not great. You obviously had the critical questions of asking how cold does it get in the winter.
Honestly,
that's a job factor decider.
It is, yeah, but it's interesting because like it's still quite far north. Like it's like the same latitude as like south of Spain,
right?
Would be if it was like flipped. It doesn't really get cold in the south of Spain in winter, so I mean it does, but
it's because it's close to the Mediterranean.
It's close to the equator as well.
Yeah.
Same as here. It's like not that far south really, even though it is the most southern point in Australia.
That sounds pretty far south.
Far out.
Anyway, so we went to that, which was fantastic. And then on our drive out, we were joined by some more bouncing fellas and ladies. Is it just fellas or is it just... Anyway, there was almost like a flock, a herd. What is a flock of kangaroos called?
Just a herd.
A bunch of joeys.
I think it's just a
herd of kangaroos just grazing right next to the road that we were driving on. We pulled over, took a few nice photos, and Nick got his camera out. So that will probably be the cover of today's episode. And now we are, after taking another 90-kilometre drive through some extra windy roads, which almost felt like the New Forest or areas of the British countryside, it was an absolutely gorgeous drive for me. I'm not sure, Nick, as a passenger, how did you enjoy that?
It was very nice. It was like the New Forest and the Lake District and the Salisbury Plains combined together, except just a lot better.
Yeah.
And like when we were driving through like the forest, it was kind of like for any of those listeners who have been to California, like going through the redwood sequoia forests, tallest trees in the world, and they were very, very tall here. So, but all the trees had eczema. That's the only difference.
Yeah, because all the koalas. Historian was saying that the koalas just fucking scrape away at every tree they can possible, so it almost looks as though there's no tree left apart from the main trunk. So it looks like there's been a bunch of forest fires everywhere, but it's just the koalas doing what the koalas do best. Eating, having a good time. Wouldn't be a bad job. And now we find ourselves at our accommodation for the night, the Sow and Piglet Hostel,
oink, oink.
Which is attached to its brewery, where it has 9 craft beers. So I might try one in a few hours, alongside dinner. Nick has brought himself some chicken noodles that he might have tonight. So that will be exciting stuff. But that's all for this episode today, folks. We have a jam-packed schedule tomorrow where we'll be hopping from attraction to attraction as long as I can get some petrol in the car. So make sure you stay tuned in for that one. It's going to be one for the ages. Nick, any final words as you come back and join this?
We were talking about herds of kangaroos, and I was reminded of this video of a stampede of kangaroos that invaded a golf course in Australia. And listen to what the guy describes them as.
It's a stampede. It is a fair dinkum stampede.
Fair dinkum stampede. Fair dinkum.
So if you ever see a herd of kangaroos, no matter where you are, call them a fair dinkum.
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 Fair dinkum stampede.
Thanks very much for listening, folks.
Absolutely vile. It's going to be a nightmare night, folks.